Pledge Manager. So we are taking a look at Backerkit, and I want to show you what is the journey that you're going to go through. Backerkit is not the only Pledge Manager. GameFound has one embedded. There's one called Pledge Manager. There used to be Crowdox. Crowdox doesn't exist anymore. It merged with Backerkit. It's likely that Kickstarter at some point will have its own. They've been hinting at it a few times. But anyway, the procedure is more or less the same for all these platforms. Backerkit is probably the most common, so I'm going to show you this. So first of all, you can set it up during or just after the campaign. Most projects do it after the campaign just because it takes so much effort. It takes maybe 10 to 14 days to set it up properly. While you're running the campaign, it is really hard to do, but if your team allows it, then you can set it up already during the campaign, and it's actually beneficial. You need to decide when to open it and how long do you need to keep it open. Now, you can put some time in between the campaign and the opening of the Pledge Manager, but you need to decide a couple of things. First of all, the Pledge Manager, it's used by the backers to confirm their order and add additional items. At the same time, you can also open the late pledge. The late pledge, it's an opportunity for the people who missed the campaign to come in and back probably at higher prices and get at least some of the stuff that was possible on the campaign. These two things do not need to happen at the same time. In the past, I've been doing it at different times. First the Pledge Manager, then the late pledge. In retrospect, I would not recommend it because every time somebody completes their survey in the Pledge Manager, they can send out a link to say, hey, I just did this thing. And if somebody who has not backed the campaign clicks on that link, they go to the late pledge. So you want the late pledge to be open at the same time as the Pledge Manager. I hope this is not too confusing, but they are two separate things handled by the same platform. After you're importing the backers from your Kickstarter or any other platform campaign, there is this setup phase where you configure all the SKUs and the shipping rates. As I mentioned, you can already mirror what you have in the campaign or configure the SKUs in a slightly different ways, maybe with higher prices for the people that come in later. Shipping rates are very important. You need to decide which regions are going to get a certain price, which regions are going to get another. It is by far the longest process there because you need to talk with your fulfillment service and figure out what rates are they offering, and then put every country where you ship to into a certain zone. After this setup phase, you need to prepare and send out the surveys. The surveys are gonna confirm the order of people. They're gonna tell you if they want add-ons added to their order, and they're gonna confirm their shipping address. In this phase, they also pay most of the time. If they have anything left from the campaign to pay, they might also have a credit because maybe they paid more money during the campaign, so they can add add-ons for free now. And they're gonna pay for shipping expenses. So this used to be that you need to do everything in one go. Lately, Backerkit has split the two things, so they can pay for shipping expenses much closer to the actual shipping. This is actually a good development because shipping rates change, and sometimes 1 year difference can make a big difference in the price. These last couple of years after the pandemic have been a great example of how shipping rates can change. So if you charge them too early, you might end up not having the money to pay the actual shipping when it's time. So now you can also pay it much closer to shipping. When the numbers are in, Backerkit will count for you how many items of each SKUs you need to manufacture to fulfill all the Kickstarter backers or all your crowdfunding backers. And as I said, you can charge the cards for shipping and add-ons. People put their card in this process, but you decide when they pay when you press a button. The reason to have these two things happening at a different time might be a tax reason. Sometimes it's, for example, convenient to wait that a new year starts and then you get the money, because the moment you get the money, you are liable for taxation. and you might not want it in the same year as you get the campaign funding for reasons that, well, can figure out with your accountant, but it might be convenient to wait, especially if you don't have to wait too many months for the change of the year. Backerkit is also useful if you need to deliver digital rewards and track shipments. Basically, you can say if a backer has this item in their order, then you can deliver this digital reward. They will get a list on their profile, and they can always go back and download whatever digital reward you provided for them. Once the shipments are out, you can upload the tracking numbers on Backerkit if you want your backers to have that there, or if you want it as your own reference. Many fulfillment services do send out emails with tracking numbers, so you might want to skip this passage. This is something that, for example, we don't do because our fulfillment partners already sends them emails. Anyway, to summarize, there are three main steps to set up the Pledge Manager. The first one is, well, you need to open the project in Backerkit, create all the SKUs you want to sell. These need to mirror what you have on the campaign, plus anything else additional you want to offer in the Pledge Manager. You need to create the pledge questions. These are useful, for example, to tell backers, okay, this item was available in 2 languages, which language do you want now? And according to what they answer, they will be able to see only a selection of SKUs so they can add to their order. So you know that if somebody just speaks English, you don't show them items that are in Danish, okay? As well, you set up the add-ons that are going to be available that people can add. This can be slightly different than the SKUs because one add-on might be composed by more than one SKU. If there are 2 items coming together as a bundle, that might be one add-on but 2 SKUs. You imported the backers from the campaign, so of course the campaign needs to be over before you do that, and then you submit everything for review. Somebody from Backerkit is going to take a look and mention if something doesn't look right. Once they confirm that everything is right, you can send these surveys. The first batch is called a smoke test. You send it to 5% of your backers. I think it actually goes to the first people that backed your campaign. The reason to send it first to 5% of the people, it's because they're gonna be your guinea pigs. They're gonna try the survey for the first time, and from the results you get there, you can see if everything is going smooth or there is some question that needs adjusting before you send out all the other emails. Once all the surveys are out and most of them have come in, you won't have 100% of them coming in right away, actually never. Backerkit will have a count of how many things you need to produce to fulfill the crowdfunding campaign. Then if you need to, you can start production if you haven't started it yet. You might not be sure like how many dice bundles do I have to produce. This number will tell you how many you need at least to fulfill this Kickstarter. You can of course collect additional funds if people add stuff to their order, and finalize addresses. People are required to add an address before they can complete the survey. They can always update that until a certain deadline that you can decide. Once everything is done and you got as many surveys as you can export this data for fulfillment. You can do manual exports from Backerkit. There are many ways to export this data. There are some direct integrations with some fulfillment services. For example, the one we use, GamesQuest, has a specific export just for them, so they know how to read that. Or if you're in the US, you can also use Backerkit Postage, which is a service that Backerkit offers to help you ship out the rewards, but it works only in the US, so I'm not able to give you much advice on it. What does a backer see? I think we can go check for a moment and see when a backer receives an email that the survey is ready, what do they see? I can show you in a second. All right, so the first thing they see is this screen. It shows them to which campaign is the email referring to. They can see what they pledged during the campaign. They need to select a country of shipping, and if they want, they can switch their pledge level straight from here. I dislike this because it's not very clear, and if you activate it, it also allows them to go back to a lower pledge, which is something you don't want, because in that case you owe them money. This is a feature that was much better in CrowdOx, which is another pledge manager that merged with Backerkit, but during the merge they didn't keep that feature. So they can switch pledge from here, but the best way is to not allow them to do this and tell them, hey, if you want something more, you can just add it to your order. So when they press get started, this is what they see. They see the questions that I set up for them. In this case is like, what name do you want on the credits in the book? I just wrote something in which language do you want the book? I can pick here between English and Italian, and according to this reply, I know how many items in a certain language I need to produce. So let's say that I want it in English. Okay, I have something else in my order. I want this one also in English. And then I'm saying, hey, thank you for pledging. We're going to add you to our newsletter. If you don't want to be in that newsletter, you can just unsubscribe the first time you get something. I understand. And then we move on to add-ons. At this point, I can show them what they can add to their order. So let's say that, well, I have a bunch of things here that people can add to their order. They can also leave a tip. Very few people do. Let's say that, okay, I want to add this to my order. Then here on the right, you will see that this is their order that they did on Kickstarter, and this is the amount of add-ons that they added. Now it says 2 because I already added one before. Each one of these is 20 euros, so there's a total of 40 euros. Shipping is 25. The total amount that they owe you is 65 then, 40 plus 25. Then they go to the next screen. And here they need to fill their address. I cannot proceed if I don't fill an address here. It needs to be a correct address, a real address, otherwise it doesn't let me proceed. So I can't show you what happens in the confirmation phase, but basically it just has a summary of what you just did. And then it's asking you, okay, we just need your credit card now. And people need to put the credit card in. So we can go back to the slides now. The backend of Backerkit is complex. You can learn the basic for setting up items, setting up the shipping fees, backer support, filtering backers through segments. This is very important when you need to know how many backers living in this specific state have ordered this item but not that item. If you want to use Backerkit postage, as I mentioned, it's just for US. And well, you can find all of them at that URL. There's also more documentation if you want to learn more about Backerkit at that second URL. By the end of the campaign, your dashboard will look something like this. We can actually see it in a real-time demo. I'm going to show you in a second. Okay, we are back on Backerkit. This is a real homepage for our Broken Tales project. You can see this is the amount we raised on Backerkit. This is the amount of pre-orders. This is the amount that people paid for shipping expenses and add-ons. Remember that most of it is shipping expenses. So this is not free money. This is actually the money you need to ship this stuff out. It will tell you how many people have had errors. You can investigate who they are. And here there are options to charge their cards, lock their addresses. When you lock their addresses, they're not able to change it anymore. You can do it, but they need to contact you first. And then, well, if you want to send out the tracking numbers, you can do it from here. You can check your backers here, count how many items. I'm gonna show you how many items we're gonna produce. This is the counting that we have. Here is where you set up your digital downloads. You can see we have quite a lot because we also had some work in progress downloads. Let me check what are the options. Here's where you set up all the SKUs. These are the most important. Here you set up the SKUs. You need to declare the value for for customs, how much they weight. If you have specific tax rules, here's where you set up your pledge questions. The shipping part is where you can see how much every region is gonna pay, and there are many different profiles. This is definitely the longest one to create. The last thing I want to show you is how a backer profile looks from Backerkit. This is what you're gonna see. So the name of the backer, if they completed their survey, what are the shipping informations, what did they back on Kickstarter, how much stuff they added in the pledge manager. If they have some complimentary credit, you can basically give them free money if for some reason, like they backed early, there's been a mistake, so you need to pay them back somehow. You can also put some private notes, public notes, they go to them, and it will show you here what is it that you need to send them. Then these are the digital downloads they have right to, and in which segments they are included, and the change log. If you don't remember what happened, like there is a very detailed log of the changes that have been made to a backer's profile. So this is just an overview. It is a complex tool, so you will need some time to learn what to do with it.